Good evening, YouTube. 7:20 p.m. 1/16/2018. I don't know how far it got above zero today, but I'm glad I am able to be home because I do not need extra sickness. Sickness costs money, okay? That's the bottom line. Costs a little. It costs less to stay healthy. Okay? So this is what I ran across this evening, and already posted it in a couple places. There's a lot of shock value, if you ask me, to it, that this kind of behavior goes clear back. It goes back so far. I didn't even realize it went back to 19th century England, but in a way I did because of the orphans. You know, those had always been an issue, and also a commodity. You know, think of it that way, people as a commodity, traded on the market. Okay, and that's one reason so many people don't want the borders closed, our Mexican-U.S. border, because this free trade, you know, with the drugs and the people, that would hopefully be ended, but it would diminish a little, at least a little. So, I'm not very political. Take it for what it's worth, you know, or not. So, I had come to this, and I was sitting in there, of course, in front of ID, and what's dominated ID for like the last 2 or 3 days, I think this is the third day, of the Jodi Arias, how she killed her Mormon boyfriend, and she's got a cushy life in prison. I was just reading an article about it last night. It's cushy. Her, and it brought to mind Warren Jeffs, because I understand his life in prison is also kind of cushy. You know, they're getting preferential treatment as celebrities. And it's not fair to the other ones. How's it fair to the rest of the prison population that they're given so much preferential treatment and everybody else can just what? Be onlookers? So, anyway, I wasn't going to sit here and put my puzzle together for you, but I do like to show the bright colors. When I do these, it's a relaxation for me. And I like the brighter primary colors because of my eyesight difficulties. And I don't wear glasses in the house. I leave them out in the vehicle, so when I get in the vehicle, I don't have to come back in after I figure out that I've left them, you know, went off to forget them. And they're there, and I don't really have a need for them in the house. So, that's that. But what triggered, because, yeah, they are a part of the octopus, and I posted that last night. Their connection with each other, I figure the Mormon church is the head of the octopus. And the FLDS, RLDS, FL, whatever else they splintered off to, those are the tentacles of the octopus. That's also another thing, you can take it or leave it, but that's how I see it. They are an octopus collectively. And you see for yourself if you pay attention to these people in the news. Now, I was doing the Google searches, and even, I believe, had a Google alert set up for when that other Jeff's brother, forgot his name now, when he was on the FBI wanted list. Wish I could think of the name, but then again, glad I can't, because I'm not tethered to that. But anyhow, they're the octopus, not the other octopus with the Secret Service and secret black government and all that. But then it dawned on me. I was eating my little supper when I had my little meatloaf and potatoes for the microwave. You know, I bought 2 of them last time I was up there. I'm thinking, okay, this week's going to be hard. You know, we got snow coming in. I don't want to be stuck without food. There's no fast food places around here, people. A couple of cafes, and they're miles apart, so miles from my house. I'm going, wow. This is about the social worker. I gotta pause. Okay. My mother would have been not only shocked but thrilled if she had been alive when that article about the former social worker from back in like the 90s, pre-80s, or pre-90s, 90s, about her son being arrested as a cocaine dealer. Because that's 2. The cousin was caught too. That's 2 of one family of that social worker who she defended boldly when I dared stand up to her. And she was like totally furious. Nobody turns my family in. You know, it was a veiled threat. She may have even actually threatened me. I'd have to seriously think about it, but I believe she did. But I try not to dwell on it all the time. As you can see, I've got other interests. If you look at my Facebook or my G+, I have a wide range of interests. I don't totally dwell, and that is my main focus all the time. That would eat someone up. But the mere fact that Sedalia, Missouri 65301 had been under the rule of a judge who was influenced heavily by the LDS Church and their trafficking, you know, human trafficking problems with their underage brides, and the Warren Jeffs story with all those crazy. There's one on there tonight because, like I started to say earlier, Jodi Arias had shows on there, or whoever, about her. This was like the 3rd day. And I did make that post last night about the connection with the church, and that being all of them together, like being the octopus, not the octopus of the Promise Ends Law thing, but another octopus itself. That the actions of that social worker were more or less condoned by the court, who, as I had told you, that judge, I don't know how long or if he was over family courts, But his presence was there. I mean, how can you not feel it? When you're in that type of situation, it's just, it permeates everything, okay? It soaks in, okay? How do you not feel it? So, you might as well say that she was protected in her doings and her dealings when it came down to the social worker aspect, because even though people were crying out about it and making reports on her, they get file 13. They get trash canned, in other words, in case you're not familiar with what file 13 is. If not, you got a new one, you know, that you learned from me. Disregarded the reports brought about her, against her, because, oh, she's got a reputation to uphold. Really? You're just saying this because you lost. Get over it. No, it's not that. But to try to tell these bozos that very same thing, man, oh man, it was never going to happen. They had an answer for everything. They probably still do. I just don't live there and hear any tales of it. So-and-so social worker did such and such thing to me. Oh, it's all in your head. Even my own mother put me through that for a while. Do you not get me, people? My own mother was convinced it was all in my head. Can you imagine the hurt? To have to listen to my very own mother tell me that I was making it up for attention so she would feel sorry for me, while they're taking my son kicking and screaming out of his nap from in front of Cartoon Network. Yeah, my mom put me through that. My mom drilled me a number of times. Now, Veronica Lynn, you tell me what you all have done to that kid over there. Kids just don't up and run off for no reason. Until, like I have told you in another video, the tables had turned on her one day, and she had fallen asleep in front of a soap opera in her front room, and he had gotten the footstool, drug it over to the screen door. It was a cool enough day. The main door wasn't locked. Reached up there and unhooked it. See, my dad had drilled a hole and put a metal hook that was bolted on the outside of the door, and then the screw eye in the door casing, so that screen door could be hooked. So nobody could just fling that door open, which I'd seen a number of people do. They'd done it to me over at our downtown house until I got Dad over there to fix same thing on our door. Because he had the drill. I don't guess John had a drill at that point, but fling the door open. And my son took off after he did that little stunt with the footstool. The little devil. Happy birthday to him, though. 28 today, I think. Left, and she calls me, and she's like, Veronica, you've got to get in the van and try to find your son. I'm like, what? And then she told me the story of how she had fallen asleep on the couch. And I'm like, Mom, what did you do to that kid? Everyone knows kids just don't up and run off for no reason. Oh, Veronica, we'll talk about that later, please. So I did, of course. And that's where the angel story picks up, from me having Ray-Bans on and being able to see into the sunset and the angels that steered the car. but that's a whole other thing. So